Great Virtue of Wisdom of Nagarjuna, Etienne Lamotte. Composed by the Bodhisattva Nagarjuna and translated by the Tripitaka Kumarajiva of the land of Kucha, under the later Sin. Translated from the French by Galongma Karma Migmi Chodron 1. Chapter 34, Liberations, Masteries, Totalities, Successive Absorptions. First section: Liberations, Masteries and Totalities. 1. The 8 liberations. A. General definition. The 8 liberations. 1. Having the notion of inner visibles, he also sees outer visibles, this is the first vimoksa. 2. Not having the notion of inner visibles, he sees outer visibles, this is the second vimoksa. 3. He physically actualizes the pleasant vimoksa, this is the third vimoksa. 4-8. The 4 formless absorptions and the absorption of cessation of concept and feeling are the last 5 vimoksas. In all, 8 vimoksas. They turn the back on the 5 objects of enjoyment and they reject or eliminate the mind of attachment towards them. This is why they are called turning the mind and rejecting. B. The first 2 vimoksas. The yogin has not destroyed inner and outer visibles. He has not suppressed the notion of both his own inner and outer visibles, and he sees these visibles with a feeling of horror. This is the first vimoksa. The yogin has destroyed the inner visibles and suppressed the notion of inner visibles. But he has not destroyed outer visibles nor suppressed the notion of outer visibles, and it is with a feeling of horror that he sees outer visibles. This is the second vimoksa. These 2 vimoksas both contemplate the horrible. The first contemplates inner as well as outer visibles. The second does not see inner visibles and sees only outer visibles. Why is that? Beings have 2 kinds of behavior: sensualism and rationalism. The sensualists are attached to happiness and are bound by outer fetters. The rationalists are strongly attached to the view of the individual, etc., and are bound by inner fetters. This is why the sensualists usefully contemplate the horrors of outer visibles, whereas the rationalists usefully contemplate the horrors and corruption of their own body. Furthermore, at the beginning of the practice, the yogin's mind lacks sharpness, and at the start it is difficult for him to fix his mind on a single point, viz., outer visibles. That is why he disciplines his mind and tames it by gradual practice consisting of the simultaneous consideration of both outer and inner visibles. Then he can destroy the notion of inner visibles and see only outer visibles. Question: if the yogin no longer has the notion of inner visibles, why can he see outer visibles? Answer: this is a matter of a subjective method and not an objective method. The yogin thinks about his future corpse burned by the fire, devoured by insects, buried in the ground and completely decomposed. Or, if he considers it at present, he analyzes this body down to the subtle atoms, all non-existent. This is how he sees outer visibles, not having the notion of inner visibles. Question: in the first 2 abhavayatanas, the yogin sees inner and outer visibles. In the last 6 abhavatanas he sees only outer visibles. In the first vimoksa, he sees inner and outer visibles. In the second vimoksa, he sees only outer visibles. Why does he destroy only the concept of inner visibles and not destroy the outer visibles? Answer: when the yogin sees with his eyes this body marked with the marks of death, he grasps the future characteristics of death. As for the actual body, in it he sees, to a lesser degree, the disappearance of the outer 4 great elements. Therefore, since it is difficult for him to see that they do not exist, the sutra does not speak of the destruction of the visibles. Besides, at the time when the yogin will have transcended the form realm, he will know longer see outer visibles. C. The third vimoksa. He actualizes the pleasant vimoksa. This is a pleasant meditation in regard to unpleasant things, as is said about the 8 abhavayatanas. The first 8 krts nayatanas contemplate, in the pure state. 1. Earth, 2. Water, 3. Fire, 4. Wind, and also 5. Blue, 6. Yellow, 7. Red, 8. White. The fifth sees visibles as blue, like the blue lotus flower, like the kinching chan, like the flax flower, or like fine Benares muslin. It is the same for the visions of yellow, red and white, each according to its respective color. The entire thing is called the pleasant vimoksa. Question. If all of that is the pleasant vimoksa, it should not be necessary to speak of the krts nayatanas under the pain of repeating oneself. Answer. The vimoksas are the initial practice. The abhavayatanas are the intermediate practice, and the krts nayatanas are the long-standing practice. The meditation of the horrible is of 2 types. I. Unpleasant. E. Pleasant. The first 2 vimoksas and the first 4 abhavayatanas are of the unpleasant type. 1 vimoksa, I. E. The third, the last 4 abhavayatanas and the first 8 krts nayatanas are of the pleasant type. Question. When the yogin takes as pleasant that which is unpleasant, he is making a mistake. Then why is the meditation that he practices in the course of the pleasant vimoksa not erroneous? Answer. The error is in seeing wrongly as pleasant a woman's beauty which is unpleasant. But the meditation practiced during the pleasant vimoksa is not a mistake due to the extension of all true blue color, etc. Moreover, in order to tame the mind, the pleasant meditation presupposes a lengthy practice of the meditation on the horrible and on mental revulsion. This is why practicing the pleasant meditation is not a mistake and there is no desire in it. Moreover, the yogin begins by contemplating the horrors of the body and fixes his mind on all the inner and outer horrors in bodily things. Then he feels revulsion. His negative emotions, lust, hatred and stupidity decrease. He becomes frightened and understands. I do not possess these characteristics as a person at all. It is the body that is like that. Then why am I attached to it? He concentrates his mind and really meditates so as not to commit mistakes. As soon as his mind becomes disciplined and gentle, he avoids thinking of the horrors of the body, such as skin, flesh, blood and marrow. For him there are only white bones and he fixes his mind on the skeleton. If his mind wanders outward, he concentrates and gathers it back. Concentrating his mind deeply, he sees the diffused light of the white bones like a conch shell. Like shells, lighting up inner and outer things. This is the gateway of the pleasant vimoksa. Then, noting the disappearance of the skeleton, the yogin sees only the light of the bones and grasps the characteristics of outer and inner visibles. For example, 1. Diamond, pearl, precious golden and silver objects. 2. Very pure earth. First krtsna. 3. Pure water. Second krtsna. 4. Pure fire without smoke or kindling. Third krtsna. 5. Pure wind, without dust. Fourth krtsna. 6. Blue visibles, like the kinching chan. Fifth abavu and fifth krtsna. 7. Yellow visibles, like the ginger flower. Sixth